In the last episode, Modulo Yuji found a child carrying Sukuna's reincarnated soul and decided to raise him. He named him Wasuke, spent 10 years making sure he grew up to be different than Sukuna, taught him everything he knew, watched him become someone completely his own. Then the higher-ups found out and decided that a child carrying Sukuna's soul, regardless of who he became, needed to be eliminated. The question from episode 1 was still unanswered. What do you do when the soul that's cost you everything gets the clean start it's asked for? The Jujutsu world doesn't care about clean starts, it cares about threat levels. And Wasuke had just been classified as a special grade that needs to be taken care of. And now we got a new question to answer. How far would you go to protect someone the world decided was never supposed to exist? The answer wasn't going to come from strength, because Modulo Yuji, the strongest sorcerer alive, was about to find out that strength has nothing to do with it. The Jujutsu headquarters didn't send fighters. That was the first thing Modulo Yuji noticed when he felt them coming. He didn't feel the cursed energy of sorcerers preparing for combat. It was the cursed energy that posed no threats at all, which was pretty odd considering they are approaching the strongest sorcerer and Sukuna's reincarnation. 3 higher-ups came, holding one document. They stood in the doorway of Yuji's apartment. Modulo Yuji looked at them. "We are not here to fight," the representative said. "Whatever you came here to do, forget it." The representative didn't move, he just held up the document. "We are here to offer you something." Modulo Yuji looked at the document. "A binding vow," the representative continued. "You know what that is." Modulo Yuji knew exactly what it was. A binding vow is a contract made through cursed energy that cannot be broken by anyone. Not by the strongest sorcerer alive, not by the king of curses, not by anyone who has ever existed in the Jujutsu world. Both parties agree to conditions that benefit both sides. The moment the agreement is reached, the vow is formed. Breaking it doesn't just cost power, it costs everything the vow was designed to protect. "The terms are simple," the representative said. "Wasuke faces a trial alone. You don't interfere. If he survives, the extermination order is permanently lifted. He gets to exist without being hunted." Modulo Yuji said nothing. "And if you interfere, the order becomes permanent. Unconditional. No appeal. No negotiation. Forever." Modulo Yuji looked at the documents, then he looked at the door to the next room. Behind it, Wasuke, wearing the hoodie he borrowed from him without asking. The higher-ups had not come to fight him. They had come to give Wasuke a chance at a real life. And the only thing that bought that chance was Modulo Yuji's agreement. He was invincible against every physical threat that had ever existed, and he had absolutely no answer for a piece of paper. So he signed. Wasuke came out of his room right after the higher-ups left. Modulo Yuji was still standing in disbelief. Wasuke looked at him, looked at the space where the higher-ups had been standing, looked back at Modulo Yuji. "You're doing the thing," Wasuke said. "What thing?" "The thing where you're sitting depressed and pretending you're fine." Modulo Yuji looked at him. "Sit down," he said. Wasuke sat. They stayed like that for a moment. "What did you sign?" Modulo Yuji looked at him for a long time. "A binding vow." "What is that?" "A contract, made through cursed energy. Once it is signed, it cannot be broken by anyone." Wasuke pretended to understand. "And what did you agree to?" "I agreed to not interfere with something that is coming for you." "Why?" "Because I know what it's like," he said. "To spend your entire life carrying something the world despises. To wake up every day knowing that's what you are, not what you did, not what you chose." Wasuke said nothing. "I spent 83 years haunted," Modulo Yuji said, "by things I didn't choose, by destiny I didn't ask for. And it's cost me everything." He looked at Wasuke. "I didn't want that for you." "So you signed something that stops you from protecting me?" "I signed something that gives you a chance at a life that isn't haunted." Wasuke looked away. "I don't think such life exists." he said quietly. Modulo Yuji didn't have an answer for that. The silence lasted long enough to mean something. Then Wasuke stood up. Tell me everything. Modulo Yuji told him, not everything, the parts that mattered. Sukuna, the Heian era, a soul that consumed a twin before it was born and spent 1,000 years making the world pay for every person who ever looked at it with fear instead of recognition. The soul that chose North, the soul that ended up in a 6-year-old. He told it all. Wasuke listened, didn't interrupt, he just absorbed it all in silence. When Modulo Yuji finished, the apartment was quiet. Wasuke looked at his hands. So that is why I can't keep friends, he said. No, Modulo Yuji said, that is just you. Wasuke looked at him. I need to think, he said. Modulo Yuji watched him walk to his room. He came back 2 hours later, backpacked, his original white shirt on, and his hoodie, the one he had borrowed without asking, folded on the table. Thank you for the hoodie, and walked out. Modulo Yuji understood something he had not understood when he signed the document. Wasuke leaving wasn't the reincarnation failing, it was the reincarnation working. Sukuna, the real Sukuna, the one who spent 1,000 years consuming everything the world put in front of him, would never have walked out of a room to protect someone else, would never have folded a hoodie and said thank you and made someone else's burden smaller by removing himself from it. Wasuke did. That wasn't Sukuna, that was Wasuke. And Modulo Yuji, who had spent 10 years making sure the blank page stayed blank, finally understood that the blank page had not stayed blank at all. It had just been written on by someone different than expected. So here is the answer to the previous question. How far would you go to protect someone the world decided was never supposed to exist? Far enough. Far enough to sign away your ability to protect them directly. Far enough to watch them walk out the door and understand. He could have stopped him. The binding vow said nothing about Wasuke leaving voluntarily. But Modulo Yuji had signed that document so Wasuke could choose his own life. This was Wasuke choosing. Somewhere across the city, the Jujutsu headquarters wasn't standing anymore. Wasuke sat on top of the wreckage, completely unbothered. He looked at the sky. The higher-ups had their trial planned. He figured he would save them the trouble of finding him. So he waited.